This is the 3D Viewmaster adventure Return from Witch Mountain by Walt Disney. A flying saucer lands inside the deserted Rose Bowl Stadium. A man, a girl and a boy climb out and begin walking across the field. "I can't wait to see the museums and go to the concerts, Uncle Ben," exclaims the girl. "Yes, Taya," he replies. "We've been so busy establishing the Witch Mountain community on our planet that neither of you has had a chance to see what life in a big city is like. That's why we arranged this brief vacation on Earth for you and Tony." "I'd rather go to the beach and learn how to surf," remarks Tony. They come to the main exit gate. It's locked. How will they get out? This is only the first of many problems that will face the two young visitors from outer space as they spend a week on Earth. Tony is a secret weapon in Reel 1. Picture 1. "Tony, come back here," shouted Uncle Ben. "You mustn't levitate on Earth." "Why not?" Tony asked as he floated in mid-air above the troublesome gate. "Because you might frighten someone. Earth people don't understand about energizing matter like we do. Remember, while you're here, don't energize unless absolutely necessary. But this is an emergency. Taya?" She nodded and gazed fixedly at the lock. Under her gaze, it undid itself and the gate swung open. Outside, the kids ran for a waiting taxi. Uncle Ben instructed the driver and said goodbye. "Remember what I've told you," he said, "and have a wonderful time. I'll see you Friday." The taxi sped along into the city, then suddenly stopped. Out of gas. While the driver went for help, Tony decided to explore a nearby street. Just as he rounded a corner, he spotted two unsavory characters pointing desperately to a third man, who was about to step off the roof of a building. It was Professor Victor Gannon and his partner Letha, who had been testing the professor's mind control device on Letha's nephew Sigel. But the control unit had failed, and Sigel, who'd been ordered to walk across the roof, couldn't be stopped before he walked off the edge of the building. Seeing the danger, Tony quickly used his power over matter to freeze the falling man and gently lower him to the pavement. Gannon and Letha watched open-mouthed. They had stumbled onto a secret weapon. "I need that boy," Gannon declared. "Young man," Letha crooned. "Congratulations on a fantastic rescue." As Tony turned toward her, Gannon slipped behind him and jabbed him with a hypodermic needle. Tony collapsed into Letha's arms. Gannon took a mind control receptor from his pocket, attached it to Tony's ear. While Letha led Sigel, Gannon carried the unconscious Tony to his car. They sped off to the professor's laboratory. Back in the taxi, Taya sensed trouble and went to look for Tony. Wandering down one street, she found herself in the middle of a gang fight between the earthquakes and the golden goons. The goons chased her down on an alley. Taya energized a garbage can and rolled the goons down like bowling pins. The earthquakes were ecstatic. "You've done us a favor. We'll help you find your brother," they pledged. Taya, like everyone from Witch Mountain, could do more than levitate and energize matter. She also practiced telepathy. She and Tony could communicate mentally over great distances. At first, her attempts to reach him failed. Then, all of a sudden, she had a flash. Picture 2. "Gold! I see gold!" she cried. Sure enough, Taya had received a message on Tony's whereabouts. He was standing in front of a gold display in the City Museum. Picture 3. Letha had led Tony and Sigel to the museum. She wanted the gold. All $2 million worth. Letha had gone bankrupt, trying to get rich off the professor's many schemes, and this was her attempt to recoup her losses. When Gannon left the laboratory on an errand, Letha ordered Tony to follow her. A heavy security system surrounded the gold, but as Letha told Sigel, "We have an army with us, Tony." First, she sought to divert the guards' attention. An assaying furnace exhibit would do. "Ignite the furnace," Letha commanded Tony. Picture 4. Seeing the fire, the surprised guards ran to turn it off. Picture 5. In the meantime, Tyre and the earthquakes had figured out where Tony was and raced to the rescue. At Letha's bidding, Tony dissolved the plastic shield around the gold bars on display and began levitating them one by one to Sigel, who was waiting at the car. Picture 6. Sigel reached heavily to catch the first bar as it floated toward him, but its weight knocked him off balance. Wham! Another hit him in the stomach. Bang! Still another slammed into the rear of the car. Picture 7. Sigel dived under the car for protection. Plop! Letha's plans had collapsed under their own weight. Danger ahead. Switch to reel 2. Dashing into the museum, Tyre saw pandemonium. Exhibits ran amok on all sides. Quickly, she de-energized them. Across the room, Letha seized Tony, who turned everything off just now, she demanded. "It would have to be one of my people," said Tony. "You mean there are more like you? Let's get out of here," she screamed. Letha and Tony ran out of the museum straight into the arms of Professor Gannon. "You fool! How could you do this?" he shouted. But there was no time to quarrel. Picture 1. Tyre had spotted Tony and rushed toward them. Seeing her approach, Letha, Gannon and Sigel pushed the boy into Gannon's car and took off. Yet what luck! Right then, Truant Officer Yokomoto drove by in a Board of Education minibus. Yokomoto was looking for kids playing hockey. When he saw Tyre and the earthquakes, he slammed on the brakes. "Okay," he called, "why aren't you in school?" But Tyre had an idea. "Everybody in the bus," she yelled. "Sir, do you see that car ahead? My brother is in it, and he ought to be in school too." With that, Yokomoto shot off in hot pursuit. Gannon saw the minibus following and ordered Tony to throw obstacles in its path. One hurdle, then another. Picture 2. Officer Yokomoto froze in terror, but the bus kept moving. Picture 3. Tony made a big bus veer in front of the minibus, but Tyre levitated the monstrous vehicle and the smaller bus squeaked underneath. Picture 4. When the minibus swerved to miss a cement truck, it skidded, flipped and landed upside down. Gannon smiled at the scene in his rear-view mirror. Later that day, Tyre pondered where to turn next. Picture 5. Then, in her mind, she heard Tony calling. "Follow my voice path," he implored. Tyre followed Tony's voice all the way to Gannon's darkened laboratory. As she entered, she pumped into a goat bearing the name plate Alfred. Suddenly, Someone seized her from behind, pressed a cloth over her mouth. Picture 6. Chloroformed and strapped under a plastic case, she too was Gannon's prisoner. Before leaving the laboratory with Letha, Stiggle and Tony, Gannon stopped to make sure Taya was still unconscious. "She won't give us any more trouble," he gloated. "By the time she wakes up, we'll be in a position to control the world." Alone and half-conscious, Taya called, "Alfred!" The goat trotted up to her. "Alfred, find the earthquakes!" she gasped. Picture 7. Nodding, Alfred galloped off into the city. Soon, believe it or not, he trotted back. Behind him, puffing, came the earthquakes, snatching at Taya's sweater in his mouth. Seeing Taya, they rushed to untie her. She de-energized the ticking bomb, and everyone hugged Alfred. "Where's Tony? Stick around for reel 3. Out on the street, Taya and the earthquakes found Officer Yokomoto sitting in his dilapidated minibus. The bus radio blared news of a terrorist takeover of a nearby nuclear plant. Some weird professor had turned off the reactor's cooling system. Picture 1. Barricaded in the reactor room, he demanded $5 million or he'd blow the place up. So that's where Tony was. Taya and company piled on into the bus. "Oh no!" Yokomoto wailed. The minibus careened toward the atomic plant's entrance. The gates closed. Yokomoto screamed. Picture 2. So Taya raced it and 2 startled guards into the air as the bus rumbled underneath. The rickety vehicle screeched to a halt in front of the plant and, Picture 3, Taya and the earthquakes scrambled up the stairs to the reactor room. Taya made the door open. "Tony, stop her!" Gannon yelled, but Taya deflected every object he hurled her way. "Tony, Tony, try to remember me," she begged. Then at Gannon's command. Picture 4. Tony made a crane come down on Taya until, Picture 5, she was trapped. "Crush her!" Gannon shouted, but tap! Taya saw his mind control unit, de-energized it, and Tony was free. In command of himself at last, Tony celebrated by, Picture 6, giving the professor a little walk in space. When the security guards arrived, they found Gannon, Letha and Sigil floating helplessly in midair. But it was Friday, time for Tony and Taya to leave. The earthquakes went with them to the Rose Bowl gate. Locked again. Everybody joined hands. Taya laughed. Picture 7. And they all floated over the gate. Taya ran for the waiting saucer. "Some vacation. Did you have a good time?" Uncle Ben asked. "Terrible," grinned Tony. "I knew we should have gone surfing." We want to add new videos every day, so please subscribe to our channel.
And if you had fun, thumbs up.